Hello, and welcome everybody to another live session where we want to give you an update about the latest and greatest on the DataMiner end-to-end network management and orchestration platform. My name is Ben Vandenberghe. I'm the CEO at Skyline Communications, and it's my pleasure to host this session. Last week, we had already a session on a very exciting 10.2 main release where we kind of outlined all the features and capabilities that we have there and showing you that there's a lot of reasons why you should consider moving to the 10.2 release, including, for example, a lot of enhancements related to security, evolutions in architecture, and a whole range of new features and capabilities. One thing that we mentioned was our cloud services. So today, we really want to focus on that specific part of the ecosystem. We want to explain you a little bit more what the DataMiner Cloud Services are all about and how this is really a solution that provides out of the box, very secure solutions that really enable you to make digital transformation a reality. This is really about empowering your digital transformation. And that's very important. That's very important. Why? Because it's important to see the context in which this is happening. Today, we are with all the different industries that we are serving, we are moving into a new world where we have tremendous flexible technology available. We are transitioning to all IP. A lot of hardware is becoming software components. We have an ever-growing offering of different cloud services. And all that technology is really very, very powerful to create and design innovative new solutions, new products, and new workflows. But very important is that while this technology gives you all those tremendous flexibility and tremendous potential, is very important that you can also create an ecosystem that allows you to do that. And essentially to build, for example, technology workflows that will create and spin up new services on demand, technology workflows that keep the challenges in mind that we have. One of them being security, for example, to make sure that you set up secure operations. But it's not only about technology workflows. It's also very much about connecting the ecosystems, the technology, the data with people. So it's very much also about operational workflows, business workflows. After all, at the end of the day, digital transformation is all about the key objectives that are outlined here at the top. It's about empowering employees. How can I make sure that despite the underlying complexity, that everybody in my organization can tap into the data and benefit from the data, leverage the data, whatever their goals and ambitions are. It's about engaging with customers because in even the most professional environments, it's all about creating digital experiences, digital interactions, being able to make connections between your platform and other partner platforms, for example. So that digital engagement is very important in a digital transformation context. It's about optimizing your operation, being able to orchestrate all those cloud services and that very flexible all IP ecosystem with software components in a way that you can really optimize the use of that. And it's about transforming your products. So we're really entering into a new world, and DataMiner plays a very important role in that because DataMiner itself is a very powerful platform, an open platform that allows people with a DevOps style to really evolve their operation continuously. Now, let's talk a little bit about the cloud services, and let's talk about this and just situate where the cloud services are. What you see there is a typical DataMiner ecosystem, a high-level architecture, and it has different components. Of course, at the bottom here, you have your entire ecosystem. And today, we are deployed in over 120 countries with a lot of leading companies in the media, the satellite, digital terrestrial, HFC networks, telco networks. So we're literally talking about from studios, for example, to playout facilities, processing, digital video headends, satellite services all over, video services, could be data services, and you go all the way even with the DataMiner system tapping into the endpoints. So this is really where the data collection and control plane provides you with the ability to tap into any piece of data that you can imagine across the entire ecosystem that you have, across any vendor technology domains that you can imagine. Cloud, on-premises, it doesn't really matter. And typically what you do is, and this is the powerful foundation of a DataMiner system, you create what we call a unified, secure digital twin. This is always the foundation of a digital transformation. You basically have a real-time, in-memory copy of your entire operation, and that's what you build up on. Now, if you look at it from a high-level perspective, when you look at a DataMiner system, it consists of different components. It's pretty easy and straightforward. You have your DataMiner nodes. These are the DataMiner nodes that you deploy. And this depends on your capacity. You deploy multiple nodes and they behave and operate like a single system. You can deploy nodes on premises, on the ground, but you can also deploy, and that's a very common thing today, you can also start deploying those nodes, for example, in a cloud environment with your preferred cloud service provider, Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, whatever they may be. And you can also have a hybrid constellation with some nodes on-prem and some nodes off-prem. There's also a data storage component, okay? Again, that data storage component, you could deploy that on-prem, as we can see over here, for example, where you would say, hey, I'm going to deploy standard Elastic cluster, a standard Cassandra cluster where all the data is stored. One unified open architecture data lake where we store all the information, which is serving, that digital twin up there. You do have other options as well. Of course, you can go ahead and you could say, hey, I prefer to deploy those components in the cloud. And we actually also, as an alternative, have also integrations, for example, with AWS Elasticsearch service. So you could also say, hey, I'm not going to set up my own cluster and all the compute. I'm going to basically use that AWS Elasticsearch service. And more recently, we are also about to announce an integration with Azure Cassandra managed instances. So that's also an option. So you can see there's different options, but at the end of the day, it's a very simple, straightforward picture. I deploy DataMiner nodes. I have my storage infrastructure, wherever it may be, wherever you choose to have the components, and I have one unified system. I log in, and I have that one single screen that provides me access to everything. That's a quick rundown of the actual environment that we're talking about. Now, where does the DataMiner Cloud Platform fit in? Well, the DataMiner Cloud Platform is essentially an environment that you can connect on the fly with any existing DataMiner system, because we choose to have choice of architecture, choices where you put your DataMiner nodes and your storage, whatever is the best fit for you. So essentially, you're creating one single secured cloud connection, okay? And you can do that with any DataMiner system out there. You create that connection to the DataMiner Cloud Platform. And what it does is the DataMiner Cloud Platform provides a whole range out of the box secure new services to enhance your operation and really to accelerate digital transformation. And we're going to have a look here at what all those services are really about. But again, this is a global platform. It's designed by Skyline. It's maintained and operated by DataMiner. It's built on top of Microsoft Azure. And anybody can just create that one single connection. It's a very easy and straightforward process. And it will immediately, instantly unlock a whole range of new services and capabilities that you can benefit from in literally minutes. And that's the key thing, out-of-the-box capabilities. And we will run down all these features and capabilities in this session. First of all, connecting, as I said, is very, very easy. So basically saying, I have a DataMiner 10.2 main release, I will make the system cloud connected, and then that cloud service package that we will discuss today automatically becomes available for you. Making your system cloud connected is a very straightforward process. You would just go to your DataMiner system, as you can see over here, and there's a very simple and straightforward process to say, hey, click and make my DataMiner system connected. Very secure, one single connection, that's what you have. You know very well what it is, where it is, how it works, and it will serve all those different services. Once you have done that, you will find also that in the cloud platform, as you can see over here, you do have an admin section. You have an admin section where you can actually also control to what extent which users within your DataMiner system are entitled to use some of the services or multiple services that we have. So again, within the cloud segment, we do have a very granular system where you have full control to decide who can use which type of services. And maybe one little detail which is interesting is also if you have multiple DataMiner systems, multiple instances, maybe in different parts of your operation, or maybe a production platform and a staging platform or a development platform, you can make them all cloud connected, and you have one location to manage multiple connections to multiple DataMiner systems. So the cloud is also consolidating the connectivity between those systems. So it's a very powerful architecture that serves a lot of different purposes. Now, let's move ahead. I just want to show you a little bit what kind of things you can do. Well, we're going to start with some of the basics. The basics is really not so much about services, but let me show you, and I'm just going to grab a screen and show you a demo also. But it starts with, just you going to DataMiner.services, and I can take my browser over here, and you can see that I go to DataMiner.services. Everybody in the world can make an account today. You can literally do that in a few seconds. Once you go in there, you will see different components, and I'm just going to highlight a few components to get started. The community is very important because this is really about creating transparency, empowering people, empowering DevOps teams on your end to do things with DataMiner. Because again, DataMiner has such big potential. It is an enabling technology itself. It allows you to tap into the power of all IP, the power of software, and the power of cloud services to build multi-cloud solutions and all of that. So the community is very important. It's the human connection to have as much agility as possible. You will see a lot of things like announcements. We have a team, for example, working on our IDP component in DataMiner. They have a new version coming up. They will generously communicate with you, give you heads up about all the details of everything changing. If you have a question, just ask the question over here. Immediately, you will get a response because over 350 people in Skyline that work in Skyline, everybody is on this platform. So whenever somebody sees a question, it's about a piece of software that he's developing, he will pick that up. So we're really putting you in touch with developers to get information straight from the source. It's all about learning. You will find, for example, plenty of courses. So you can go in, for example, it's nicely arranged. The foundational capabilities. I want to focus on data acquisition and control, or maybe you want to move on to orchestration and automation, creating workflows or visualizations, for example, in dashboards. And then if you click, you can drill down and you can see all the different courses that are available. There's over 50, 60 hours. You can do self-evaluation with our quizzes, or you can go for the official certification. Very important. You will find all our resources here, all the documentations. And I just want to highlight also the fact, for example, that we have an extensive library of all the different solutions that we have in DataMiner, for example. So this is definitely worth looking into, a complete library of all kinds of solutions for different market segments and what you can do with DataMiner. Or maybe the use case library. The use case library gives you all kinds of samples, like how people design and create and solve solutions and create new workflows. Very interesting libraries, to inspire people to do creative things with DataMiner. So that's the DataMiner Dojo community. Now, we also have a component called project collaboration, which is really to have agile collaboration between resources from Skyline and your own DevOps resources, so they can collaborate together on creating solutions when you basically use our services to facilitate some of the projects that you're working on. But just moving on, the other important part of this is also the catalog, for example. We are now in the process of creating deployments from the cloud. So in a DevOps context, rather than developing pieces like automation scripts and connectors and drivers in your own system, you will have the ability to go to the DataMiner Cloud Platform, and let me go back. You will see, for example, that we have a catalog in there. That's our deployment catalog. Right now, at this point, we started with the support of different services. So I could be looking, for example, hey, I need to connect to Azure, and you can type Azure, and you will find all kinds of drivers, Azure Kubernetes services, the regular Azure driver, etc. Or I need to interface with some Arista switches. I'm going to grab this Arista manager and I'm going to look at all the details here, and I can really work with that. And you can go ahead. You can also type things like, for example, I'm looking for some encoders, and you can get different brands of encoders like a PeerTV, a Peri, etc. And once you have, for example, let me grab, for example, a classic driver, for example, a Microsoft platform to manage a Microsoft server, you will find that you will have also a button here. And that button enables you to deploy that component into your system. So as soon as you're cloud connected, you can go to the catalog, you can grab components, and deploy them to your system. And not only deploying them, keep in mind in the background, we are also developing complete CI/CD capabilities. In other words, to have automated testing and validation. So in the future, you will see that it is possible to add components into the catalog, and from the catalog to deploy into your live operation, but also to benefit from a whole series of automated testing and validation. So this is really all about making development and evolution and continuous evolution very, very flexible. So people have peace of mind. I have developed a new code, I can deploy it. And of course, in addition to the drivers, we will also support automation scripts. And essentially, we are going to support complete DataMiner configurations. Okay, so that's the end goal that we have here. This is very important in there. But just to move on to focus on the most important things, one of the capabilities or one of the services that we have is live sharing as a service. Sharing data is one of the key objectives of digital transformation, being able to take any data and to share it with anybody. One of the first capabilities that we are introducing as part of the live sharing as a service capability of the DataMiner Cloud Platform is our dashboard sharing. And I showed you a little bit of the dashboards already last week. Now, we advocate open architectures, and we want to empower you to also use Kibana or Grafana or Power BI, for example, to tap into the digital twin. But the DataMiner dashboards itself are very, very powerful. You have this graphical library of all kinds of widgets. You can just drag and drop widgets. You can connect it to any data source, whatever it is, wherever it's coming from. If it's sitting in that digital twin, you can grab it, you can put it onto your dashboard. And something that is very important is the real-time nature of it, because most of our customers, this is about operation. This is really about managing live operation. So you will find that the DataMiner dashboards is all about having the ability to show information at real time. And you can do a lot of things, different graphical presentations. You can put a list of alarm messages in there. You can put a graphical component in there. Remember, the people that know DataMiner, you have visual overview. If you have RF in your network, digital terrestrial, satellite, or whatever, we have those integrations. So it has a lot of very powerful components that you can just drag and drop and build very appealing and interactive dashboards in there. And even control capabilities, okay? So you can build, for example, an easy-to-use button control panel that controls some sources and destinations, for example. And underlying, you may have a very complex end-to-end IP network where DataMiner is taking care of allocating resources and reserving bandwidth and all of those things. But for the user, it has to be easy and accessible, okay? So that's really about digital transformation. To get to the point, if you are cloud connected, so remember, I made my DataMiner system cloud connected, and you can literally do that in a few minutes. That DataMiner Cloud Service Platform becomes a part of your DataMiner platform, okay? In that case, you can actually have a dashboard like this. This is an in-house dashboard. I build it, but I need to share it with somebody. There's a share button available there. You can click on that share button, and the only thing you have to do is you enter the email address of anybody, whoever you want to share with. Those people don't need to have a DataMiner license, nor they need a DataMiner system. But what happens is I can instantly share that dashboard live with anybody in the world, a partner, a customer, a consultant, whoever it may be. And maybe we need to do a live presentation. I may invite also here one of my colleagues and to show you a little bit on how this is working in real life. So let me go and grab my dashboards, okay? So over here, for example, I have my DataMiner dashboards. This is zine.skyline.be. Zine is a DataMiner platform in-house, but it is a cloud-connected DataMiner system. So if I go, for example, to my platform, and let me just go and grab that specific view, I'm going to show you. This is my DataMiner system over here. I'm just going to grab you my main user interface. If I go to the System Center over here, very easy, straightforward, you will see I have that cloud option in there. So I am cloud connected. So the DataMiner Cloud Services that I showed you that are out there are now a fully integrated, out-of-the-box, highly secured component within my ecosystem, which is seamlessly integrated. Literally took me like 5 minutes to do that. And as a result of that, if I go to my internal system, I have all my dashboards here. I have all kinds of dashboards that do all kinds of different things that show me all kinds of different information. But for example, here I have a dashboard that I made, that I designed, that has a lot of different types of information in there. And maybe I want to share that for one or another reason. For example, I want to share that with somebody, and I'm going to share it with my colleague. I have a colleague, Thomas. He's based in Munich, and he will come online in just a second. And hey, Thomas. So let's imagine that I have a situation that I want to share this information with Thomas. The only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to create a share of that specific dashboard with Thomas. The only thing you do is you click on that share capability and you get the standard DataMiner sharing screen. So that sharing screen allows me to just say, hey, I want to share. Again, it doesn't have to be somebody who is a DataMiner customer or a customer of Skyline. You can just share with anybody out there in the world. You can add some descriptions, you can add a little message, for example, and that's all I do. My dashboard is shared successfully. And maybe we can have a look at the experience on the end of Thomas and switch over and have a look at Thomas.
Hello, let me have a look. I'm just receiving an email as we speak. All I need to do, I open that email, I get this message from Ben. Email just arrived. There is one single button. That's all I do. I click on that one. Let me bring up my dashboard here. It's loading. I'm communicating now with the DataMiner Cloud. As you see, it looks pretty much the same as the dashboard from Ben, but I'm not connected to Ben's system. I'm actually connected via the DataMiner Cloud Platform. You see that here. There is a different URL, but I have access to the same data. I can use the data. I can zoom in, zoom out. With the same delay as Ben has, which is close to real time, I can access real-time data.
Brilliant. Okay, thank you, Thomas. And I'll circle back to you later, maybe for some more demos. So as you can see, it's very easy. I can literally be cloud connected in no time. I can share a dashboard with anybody in the world in no time. And the person receiving the share, it's just instantly. And he has real-time views on this. And again, keep in mind, those dashboards are really powerful. Okay, we have different graphical capabilities in addition to all the other components. So again, digital transformation, it's about making connections. And the peace of mind that I have is once this is in place, I could have my DevOps colleagues that do new integrations. Let's imagine my company does a new integration with AWS or a new playout that they make. As soon as that integration is there, as soon as the data flows into that digital twin, I can literally go to this dashboard. I can take a new widget, connect it with that new data, wherever it's coming from, and have it shared with Thomas instantly. So all of that is out of the box and completely standardized. This is really digital transformation by design. So let's move ahead and have a look at a few other things, because we do have other capabilities. Now, I do want to mention before I move on, we also have a remote connect capability. A remote connect capability is essentially where you can allow regular DataMiner users to use your DataMiner system on the fly through the cloud platform. And I can actually show you that very quickly, because if I'm going to go to my cloud platform and I'm going to go to the admin section, and I already explained to you that in the system you can have multiple organizations and you can have multiple DataMiner systems connected. In this case, I have Zine Cloud. This is the system which is hosted in Azure, my private DataMiner system that I use to share information. But you can see also I can control the access. We have this other service, which is a remote access, which is switched on. And remote access really allows me to have a URL in the cloud, so I don't have to do a VPN into my organization to be able to access that system. In this case, it's set up with multi-factor authentication, for example, and I can go in and essentially on my phone, I just need to confirm that specific digits. So 18, I get that confirmed, so I'm authenticated on the cloud platform, and now I can access my DataMiner system as if I would be local in the system. In short, that's what we call the remote connect service. Okay, the remote connect service gives me the ability to drill down and to go into my DataMiner system from anywhere in the world on demand without having to set up complex VPNs or anything like that, but in a very secure fashion. Again, it's a service. You can switch it on, you can switch it off. And of course, now I'm working with my DataMiner system, so that means the whole DataMiner security applies. So if I have access to certain components and not to other components, of course, that's also reflected here. But just to move on, one other service that we definitely would like to highlight, which is also out of the box as soon as you are cloud connected and you switch on that specific service, is our chatOps service. And this is really a game changer, okay? And let me first explain you a little bit what it is. It's a full integration with Microsoft Teams. Now, we all know today we live in a world where there's a lot of collaboration between different people on different locations. And you need to have that agility to collaborate and to operate. But as you can see here on the screen, as a matter of fact, over here, we can see, for example, that through this integration, the DataMiner system has the ability to communicate with you through Teams. First of all, you can receive a notification in Teams. You can see that in Teams, for example, we have received a notification that something happened in our operational system. And by itself, this is already powerful, because I can receive asynchronous notifications, email, text messages, and all that. And I'm working in a squad. I'm working in a team with Thomas and other people. So if we receive asynchronous notifications, I'm going to be like, hey, Thomas, did you see that message? Did you work on it? Maybe Bart is not up to date, whatever. Right here, we have that notification, and immediately me and Thomas and other colleagues that join later can develop a conversation around that. But not only that, you can also interact with DataMiner. You can see some examples already here where Thomas, upon seeing that notification, he instantly said, okay, DataMiner, give me some more information about what's happening there in London. And he said, basically, DataMiner show view London, and it gives you that graphical snapshot picture. And Thomas can see, like, hey, there's definitely some problems there. I see some critical alarms. And he can go ahead, and he can actually go ahead and ask for more details. He can say, hey, DataMiner, show me some alarms. Now, pay attention, there's even a level of interpretation there, because DataMiner, there might be 100 alarms in this system, but DataMiner says, well, Thomas is looking at this from a context, from that part, for that part of my operation. And it says, I found 8 alarms for that specific part of your operation. And Thomas can flip through all those different warnings. He can see what's happening in more detail. And even if he wants more detail, he can also go like, oh, that metric, it was switched off. Let me get some more details. And he clicks on the trending, for example. And when he clicks on the trending, he can actually get more details about that specific metric. And he can see, indeed, it just switched off. But apparently it did so a little bit earlier as well. So again, you have that complete interaction with all the data. And the beautiful thing is, whatever is integrated with data, wherever the data is coming from, you can do that type of interactions. It's extremely powerful to empower people with data. They don't have to go to open up a DataMiner client, find the right information, and lose time with that. No. Within a collaborative context, you can integrate that data into your conversation. And maybe we can have a quick look on that. Let me go to grab my chat with Thomas. And again, I'm here in Belgium. We're working on a DataMiner system which is hosted in the cloud, which is cloud connected. And I might have a problem in the system. I can say, hey, hi, Thomas, how are you doing? Did you see that problem, for example, with the SAT reception? Okay. And we can develop a conversation the way we collaborate on a day-to-day basis, okay? No, he did not see that yet. I can say, okay, I'm going to pull in some data, from the operations to show Thomas exactly what I'm talking about. And I say, at the DataMiner, and I can say show elements because I want to show some elements. I don't know all the names of all the equipment in my system, but that's okay. I can say show elements. It's an IRB. I don't remember exactly what it was. And DataMiner says, hey, I found 10 elements in your system that kind of seem to match. And I can browse through them and I'm going like, okay, it's not this one, it's not this one. That's the one, and it currently has an alarm. And I have a button there. I have a button so I can pull up some details about that specific alarm. And I can see, this is the one, I can say to Thomas, and I can see, is Thomas, for example, able to do something about this? Can you look into this? I have a meeting coming up, whatever, and Thomas can pick up on that. So you can really blend all the information together into that one single chat in there. So that's a very easy thing to do. But maybe Thomas has no access. I don't know. Yeah, he doesn't have any access. So he can say, hey, I don't have access. Okay, I will share, for example, a dashboard with you, a dashboard with control capability. And so I can go ahead and go through the same process because I can go to my platform. I have a control panel for that part of my operation. And I can go through the same process and I can share that. And I can say done. Okay. Now, one of the interesting things maybe we can check out with Thomas and have a look.
So yeah, I'm also on Teams. You see the very same conversation than you saw on Ben's screen already. And without going to DataMiner or any details, I further use the Teams client here, and all I say is DataMiner show shares, because I don't really know what the link is. Ben just shared with me. Let's assume I'm not on Outlook. I don't want to check my emails. I can go straight on with the conversation in here, firing one command saying DataMiner show me all the shares, and there is this MCR panel Ben has just shared. So instead of taking an email, all I do, I click on that link and I get access to another dashboard. But this dashboard is not only read-only, I have full control on the IRD inputs. This is my IRD2, which has an issue. I can swap an input to a different one. Let's assume in the demo that will fix the problem. Before I had a black input. Now I swap to a different one. That should fix the problem. Going back to Ben, I will probably just say, hi Ben, can you check again? Problem should be fixed.
No, I'm still in the meeting, so I probably will do a quick show. I can say, hey, DataMiner, show, for example, the view London, because that's that specific part of the systems. Because one of the capabilities that we have is really to pull in that data, and I can see that live view. I can see that live component. I can see the color coding. I can see that it's okay. I can say it looks okay. Thank you, and that's blended. By the way, there's also links there. For example, if you use that link, you will go to the cloud. You will basically access that system in real time if you have the credentials to do that. And keep in mind, there's a lot more there, because to give you one example, just very quickly, we are in a conversation, me and Thomas here, and it's perfectly possible actually that Thomas has different access rights to DataMiner as compared to me. Okay, so whatever I'm doing, if I'm asking, for example, to see that view in London, it's perfectly possible that I can do that, but that Thomas does not have access. So if I'm going to say like, hey, DataMiner, show me the view London, it is going to pull in that picture, and it's going to be, Thomas will be able to see that. But Thomas himself, if he would type the same instruction, DataMiner would refuse to give it to him. So those are the powerful, very fine, granular things where we can say, hey, even in a conversation with people with less access than I have, I can share information if I choose to share that information with them. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of other things in there. For example, if I go at DataMiner and I say show DMS, it will show me what DataMiner system I'm connected to. But the funny thing is, DataMiner will decide here, like, hey, Ben is asking for something within a group conversation, like, which has to do with login credentials and being connected to different DataMiner systems. As a matter of fact, DataMiner is going to say, hey, Ben, that's fine, but I will continue with you in a different conversation. So actually on my Teams, and I can pull that up for you, on my Teams, you will see I have a second chat that was just started, and DataMiner told me in private, separately, hey, Ben, you're currently connected to the Zine Cloud Platform, because again, we can have multiple DataMiner systems. Over here, I could actually change and connect myself with another DataMiner system I have. So there's a lot of details around this, which is quite exciting. But let me move on, because there's more, and this is already very fascinating, because again, I always like to emphasize that, because I think it's so important. Once this is in place, which is literally something that you can almost do out of the box, I can be assured if tomorrow my manager decides to buy a new piece of infrastructure with a new vendor or a new technology or a new cloud service, as soon as this is integrated, anybody who has the access credentials can go to the chat, see if there's any alarms, or see if there's any metrics, look at the evolution of the metrics, or look up, one of those graphics. Everything automatically follows. It's all by design. So that's quite exciting. It's a very exciting service, and it's going to be extremely valuable to increase the agility and all those other things. Now, just to move on, I just want to emphasize that, of course, this is just the beginning. We have a whole list of different types of services and capabilities that we will introduce that will be very, very similar to the ones that you have seen already. To give you an idea of what is coming up, first of all, the live sharing. We showed you already how you can take a dashboard and share it on the fly. By the way, I didn't mention that. we have shown you how we can share a dashboard manually. I click the button and I decide to make that share. But one of the interesting things is also the actual sharing service is part of the workflow engine. So the same engine that I use, for example, to say at 3 o'clock, I will configure a contribution across my IP. I will spin up some resources in my data center or configure a satellite uplink. As part of that process of provisioning that service, we can also decide once the service is up and running, for example, we're going to take a dashboard template that represents that specific service, and we're going to share that with the end user, for example, of that service. So not only am I automatically planning and booking and spinning up an entire service for an end user, but in the same way, fully automated as part of that service delivery, that person will receive an email where he can click and just go and see that entire ecosystem. Read only if you want to provide only monitoring, but you can even also provide him with some buttons where you can say, hey, I will allow him to control the return feeds, or I will allow him to start and stop this service, whatever it may be that you do. So you can be really creative about that. Now, just to move on, the other things that we're going to add is also app sharing and API sharing. And it's very similar to dashboard sharing. And I just want to recap that very quickly because we already announced this, because this is already released as part of the DataMiner 10.2 release. But the user-definable apps in DataMiner is kind of like, you could say, a dashboard on steroids. Because what it allows you to do is to say, you know what, we have a lot of different groups and teams with all different needs for data, and we can try to explain them how to log into DataMiner and find the right information. The no-code apps kind of flip that around. In my system over here, for example, you can see the confidence monitoring, the studio manager, and the booking manager. These are no-code apps designed in DataMiner. And if I click on them, I don't have to log into the full DataMiner system, but I get a complete app that the DataMiner DevOps engineer has built on the fly. Very easy, very straightforward. Essentially, you're bundling. You can have these side panel menus and you bring in data, all the data that you want from different sources and destinations. You kind of pick it from the digital twin. You bring it together into one view. This is like an app that somebody built to manage our Azure deployment. And it gives us access to the gateways and the storage and the traffic, et cetera, et cetera. But you could have other apps. You could say, hey, I have a studio manager. And again, in the studio manager, you will see you have side panels, for example, you have top level menus, and you can build this very easily. So you can really go ahead and create all kinds of apps. I need an OTT quality of service app. I need a booking app, for example. I need a customer manager app, whatever it is. And the key point that I want to make here is that the next step is that similar to a dashboard, you will be able to take one of those apps and just say, hey, I want to share that with Thomas, for example. Thomas will receive an email and he will click and he will get one of these beautiful, nicely consolidated apps that contain all the data that he wants and the controls, if you want, that allow him to do whatever it is that he needs to do. So this is really digital transformation on steroids. This is really about taking any data, combining it in any way I want, and basically delivering it in a secure fashion, but very easily with other users. And it even, these apps even run on a phone. So you can plug it on a phone. You have a little icon on your phone that says, hey, my studio manager or my IP network manager or my SLA overview, an SLA app maybe for the manager so he can see the SLAs of all the different services. It's all possible. And you will be able to just share those apps with anybody in the world, literally in minutes. So, and one of the next capabilities, which is also very important, is our API, our user-definable webhooks. Just to recap very quickly, if other people want to interact with your operation, that's something that you can say, hey, I'll give you an app or I give you a dashboard. But the other people that basically need that, they could say like, hey, we have our own tools. We have our CRM or whatever tools they use. We would rather bring the data into that tool. And we explained already as part of the 10.2 release, we explained that you could go like, okay, our DataMiner system has this API, and I'll explain you the API and how you can use it and which methods you use. And you have a service name, so you will have to use this API call and resolve the service to the service ID, and then you can go here and find that data. That's going to take time. That's going to be very cumbersome. The user-definable webhooks allow you to flip that around. I'm the DevOps engineer, and I know, for example, Bart from finance, he wants to have some data on our consumption with AWS or Azure to automate some routines where he wants to check the billing. Well, I can go ahead. I can say, okay, Bart, you're going to have this identifier, and this is what you want in return. And the only thing I'm going to do is, I know the DataMiner system very well. I will write up a script that basically starts with that ID. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to find this information. I'm going to multiply it, whatever you need to do. And at the end, you're going to return it. The beautiful thing is, today, already in the 10.2 release, you can, with a single click, you can convert that into a new webhook on the DataMiner system in a secure fashion with tokens and all of that. So I can build tailored APIs, very efficient, because you can do this literally in like half an hour or an hour, depending on the complexity. And it's also very secure, because I will provide my colleague Bart with a tailored API. It does exactly what he wants, but also nothing more or nothing less. So I don't have to be afraid that he can do something wrong. To get to the point actually of this presentation, we will introduce that sharing capability here as well. So we will go ahead and give you the option to say, hey, I just created a new webhook, but it's not for internal use. I want my business partner or my customer to be able to use that. So you will have a similar button there where you can click and say, I'm going to share this with Thomas. Thomas is going to get an email, and it's going to say, Thomas, you have this URL on the cloud where you can connect. You can send your service ID. We will give you this in return. And that's the ultimate convenience. This is digital transformation out of the box. This is really about creating connections with customers, digital interactions. And again, the beautiful thing, if that existing API needs to change, needs to be enhanced, maybe we're changing some internal infrastructure, we're introducing some new products from some new vendors, I can go to that API, grab that new data, convert it in whatever I need to make sure that Thomas gets all the right information still. So again, very, very powerful, but that's going to come up later this year, where we will also introduce sharing with the apps and sharing, for example, with the APIs. And that's not where it's going to stop. We're also preparing for some other services. And this is more about the DataMiner platform itself. So you can see it there on the right-hand side, DataMiner Platform Services. As I showed you already, you have a DataMiner system. And again, a DataMiner system typically consists of DataMiner nodes that you deploy. Today, you deploy those on premises, or you would deploy those in a private cloud environment with your partner of choice. And essentially, what we're introducing, the DataMiner node as a service, will allow you to say, hey, you know what, I need an additional DataMiner node, but maybe it's only for the Olympics or for 6 months or whatever. I'm going to spin up one of those nodes in the cloud to basically extend my system and the capacity of my system. Now, the node is not the first priority. The first priority is actually going to be, the storage as a service. So again, the storage, you can do that on-prem. You can do that in a private cloud environment with your own Elastic and Cassandra deployments. We have already the ability to interface with services like AWS Elasticsearch service, and we're about to announce our Azure Cassandra managed instances. But another option, in addition to this, will be to simply say, you know what, I'm going to deploy my DataMiner nodes, but I don't want to be bothered with setting up and maintaining my own storage. I have no idea how much capacity I need. I want to be having more flexibility in terms of scaling my storage. I'm going to use storage as a service in the cloud. Again, it's going to be a very powerful, out-of-the-box, highly secured service. And last but not least, I do want to mention also our ops services. The ops services is essentially within the DataMiner system itself, the nodes and how they run and operate, we have built what we call system performance indicators. So within the software, we generate a lot of data about the performance of the DataMiner system. How fast is a client connecting? How much memory and how much CPU are different processes using? What are the queue sizes of information flowing between different processes, for example? So, and all that data with your consent, if you're with the same cloud connection, it's a single connection, very easy, out of the box. But with your consent, all that performance data, whether it's coming from here or it's coming from here, it's one consolidated system, will start flowing into the cloud, where we have our support team basically migrating towards some more data-driven, proactive support. It's kind of like saying, hey, we give you the choices wherever you deploy your storage, wherever you deploy your nodes in a hybrid or on-prem or off-prem fashion, it doesn't really matter. We will basically manage that entire ecosystem as if it is a service. So you can have more peace of mind, and we can have a more proactive approach in ensuring the most optimal operation of that. And that's it. This is, the ecosystem that we are looking at. You have that single secured cloud connection. Literally, again, it only takes you minutes to do that. And immediately, instantly, you can basically just switch on different services, which are going to be immediately there out of the box. And any and all of them are really, truly game changers in all of this. So very excited about this. This will be available in a very flexible manner also in terms of business models. As a matter of fact, we kind of bundle the services in different tiers, making sure that whatever tier you're in, you will have all the services available. It's just a matter of how much utilization you want to have of the service. So we want to make this very accessible. As a matter of fact, we will have an essential package, a basic entry-level package, which will be free of charge available for all our existing customers. So any existing customers, they can just upgrade their system to the 10.2 release, make it cloud connected, and off you go. You can start experiencing the new way, the new style of management that is completely data-driven, that you will see typically emerging in the future. Having that said, I'm going to wrap it up. Of course, you can find a lot of information also on this on our website. I would really encourage you, if you haven't done so, join the community. There's tons of information there. You can ask questions. But we're really excited about the DataMiner Cloud Services, which are now launching. And we would really like you to really look into it, because it can be a real game changer in terms of how you manage your operation in the future. Thank you very much. And I'm looking forward to talk to you again very soon. Have a great day.